Hey, welcome back to another Jurassic World Alive video. As I think I mentioned in yesterday's video, we're supposed to do another tier list video today, and unfortunately, Prof can't really join us anymore. He's got stuff to do, like personal stuff. So, anyways, I'm still here with Temerity, which is nice. So today we're gonna go over the A plus tier dinos, and hopefully we could, just get all this out soon. That would be nice. But anyways. Let's get right into this. Last time we did S plus and S, so yeah, let's get into A plus one. We're gonna go over these just alphabetically because like last time it was kind of weird order in hindsight. But anyways, yeah, let's get started on this then. So first on the list we got Elasmosaurus at A plus. So Elasmosaurus is an interesting cat. Well, it's not a cat, but So 4.5k HP, 1,100 damage, 115 speed, 30% armor, 5% crit. Like it really has similar to the pre-nerf, pre-stat nerf Ceratopsian kind of stats. And like the move set, very interesting as well. Long defense strike, definite rampage, rending strike, and decel rampage. So overall, it could take hits. It can dish out damage as well. Got two rampages. So one being definite rampage, right? So definitely can deal a lot of damage. Got speed control, rending strike, situational. But if you're facing something like Ardent or whatever, it could be more to do more damage than rending strike, right? Since decel, you're not gonna decel them anyways, right? So in terms of speed, I mean, it's okay, but then again, has speed control and then long defense strike above the 30, on top of 30% armor, decent amount of health, tanks a lot, does a lot of damage. So, thoughts on this, Tim?
Yeah, I really like Brontolasmus a lot. First it can revenge kill against a lot of the meta since it's majority faster than a lot of the top tier being at 115 speed,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of the stronger dinos are 110 and below now.
Yeah.
So it can come in with a rending strike, 40% HP of those dinos, and just finish them off and have a definite rampage and decelerating rampage ready. Um, it's one of, I think, like three top tier dinos that can actually go 50% or better against Endoraptor Gen 2, which is really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it it has it all. It has the bulk. It has the armor with obviously the bulk, but it has decent damage output. I mean, the multipliers are crazy on this thing. And then if
Mm-hmm.
it's going up against something that can't bash through shields, it can put long defensive strike down and just straight up um
Take hits, right? Long defensive
yeah.
strike is it's hilarious. It's just basically a better short defense. When
Yeah,
you think about it, right? It doesn't have
no
cooldown, none of
cooldown.
that. And it does the same thing, and it's just a basic strike. So there we go, the Bumblebee Rhinoceros hybrid thing. I think it's safe to call it a Rhino. I mean, people always pick on my comparisons to modern day creatures. But anyways, moving on to the the tragedy that is Dallarkars. I don't even want to talk about the Dallarkars anymore. Like, how about you start on this one, Tim? I'll just go over the stats and stuff real quick. 4,300, 3,000. Oh, I wish it was 4,000. 300, 400, 300, what the heck? I can't. I'm just too distraught over poor Dollar Cars right now. 3,450 health, 1,450 damage, 129 speed, 5% crit, no armor. Got Security Strike, Distracting Strike, Greater Stunning Rampage, and Rampage and Run. So, Tim, Dollar Cars.
All right. So in the meta that is bulkier now, having only a 1450 turn one damage is pretty bad, especially for a dino that mainly needs a setup turn in order to be efficient. It still has a good speed for its tier. The damage output is really good once you set it up.
Hmm.
But it's just with the meta being immune and being tanky, it doesn't really do much out a few big hits.
Yeah, and like for the dialogue car supporters out there, and I personally, you all know my relationship with dialogue cars, right? But the sad truth is, dialogue cars honestly has been in decline, like for I think 3 or 4 patches already. Um, it just happens that everything around it just got better, and like, nothing really happened to it. Like honestly, like when was the last time it really got any significant changes? And the sad thing is like everything that beat it got much better, and stuff that it used to beat, it kind of doesn't beat anymore. So really, really sad. And also the whole Dracoceratops bait. This is like Dialocars is like top 5 Dracoceratops bait targets, right? So that's also kind of sad as well. I mean, again, the reason why Dialocars didn't really slip down like even further is it still does what it does really well. If you can get it set up, again, much more harder to do now, but if you can get it set up, damn, it does a lot of freaking damage with those 2 rampages, one being a stun, next one being a rampage and run. Again, with the speed, it's very, very likely you'll get these 2 rampages up, right? So, again, still does what it does well, but just much less efficient than it ever was, say, 4 patches ago. And it's just been in a constant decline since. Hopefully, well, we could see it, get better in the future. But at the moment, it's kind of fodder being where it is at right now. So, anyways, moving on to Sungaya. Sungaya is interesting. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but did we debate having Sungaya in S, or was that something else? I can't really remember.
That
Um,
was Taylor.
oh yeah. So Sungaya, it's 3,000 health, 1,350 damage, 125 speed, 5% crit, 15% armor. So overall, I guess the biggest problem with this, hybrid is basically the low HP, honestly. But like, it's not that bad since it does have the 15% armor, right? Which is obviously nice. Also has shielding decel strike, which could help in certain scenarios. Regeneration helps with that, but obviously would be better if it had more HP. The place where it shines is its absolutely busted move set. Decelerating counter is like a meme of a move. Like this counter, like it's a full counter and then slows your opponent. Like what the heck? Also got Thagmizer, which is it's just a multiplier, I guess. The speed decrease, it rarely matters unless you're against something that slows you as well. Then you get like 250% decreases in one turn. Then you're gonna be faster than the slowers, right? You're gonna slow the slowers. And you also got shielding, deceler strike, ferocious strike, just to up its damage. Obviously, with the counter, that's gonna be even more damage. Like usually, counter dinos have really, really low base damages, and like they get like a ferocious strike or whatever. But Sangaya has really decent base damage. It's almost like 1.4k base damage, right? And also still has ferocious strike. So this thing does a ton of damage. Speed's not bad. The biggest weakness it has, obviously, the HP thing. It gets help from its armor and shield and all that. So overall, a decent dino. Tim.
Yeah, its biggest asset right now is the fact that the meta is slower. It can revenge kill pretty dang good, being with having 125 speed and
Mm-hmm.
having a ferocious strike. That's 2025 damage for a revenge kill, and then it has a counter on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so you can dish out a good 4,000 damage a turn with this creature, which is where it really shines.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it does have a little redundancy with the 3 ways of slowing an opponent.
Right.
So I mean, what are you gonna do? But regeneration allows it to survive one more hit. Um, it's just overall, like you said, health is a little bit low, but other than that, it's just insane damage output, fairly good speed dino.
Mm-hmm. And also on the revenge kill point, like it's got like unlike a lot of revenge kill dinos, they only have like one option to go. This has like basically this kind of has like two options to go. Like if you can take your opponent out with ferocious strike, you could go with that. But if you can't take it out with ferocious strike and like you don't have any other options, you can still revenge kill with it if you go for a shielding decel strike and then have the counter take it out. So that's gonna be like that's two times damage, right? So if your ferocious strike doesn't have enough damage to take it out, then you could go for shielding decel strike, and you also obviously take half damage from that as well. So it's got a lot of options going for it, and of course, if it gets, once you get ferocious strike set up, you just start shielding decel strike, and if you need more damage, go with the multiplier on Thagmizer. It's just does a lot of stuff, and well, mainly damage, but fun dino to use. Anyways, moving on, Indominus Rex Gen 2. So I see some people um underhyping. Is that a word? Underhyping? I don't know if that's a word.
It is now.
Well, I guess okay. No, it is now. Some people underhyping Indom Gen 2. Okay, Indom Gen 2. I don't think those people understand how freaking good it is. Okay, like let's go over its stats and moveset real fast. 4.5k health, 1.6k damage, 108 speed, 5% crit, no armor, definite strike, mutual fury, armor piercing rampage, cloak, and immunity. So, like, I see people even, like, as absurd as comparing it to being, like, as good as Indom Gen 1, but, like, no. No. It got, like, Indom Gen 1's biggest flaw. It got it covered. It has definite strike. It breaks shields. Like, Indom Gen 1 is so incredibly easy to stop. All you gotta do is put something with the shield up. Like, it doesn't even have to have a lot of HP. Like, if as long as you're faster, you could get a shield up. You stop its cloaked rampage. It's that easy. With Indom Gen 2, you literally can't do that. Definite strike breaks your shield. Mutual fury negates that 108 problem, right? Obviously a lot of strong dinos are at the 109 range. Once you go with mutual fury, armor piercing rampage, that's a ferocious boosted armor piercing rampage with 1.6k base. This thing is absolutely busted. Like, again, I always called Indom Gen 1 like an anti-meta dino when speedsters were the meta, right? Like, it basically just, it has a very, very, very good, like, usually has like 75% chance of taking out almost every speedster in the game, right? But, but it always lost to, like, all the tanks and all that. But this thing does that because it's still got your bread and butter cloak and armor piercing rampage, but can also deal with all the other stuff that Indom Gen 1 couldn't deal with, namely the tanks, the shielding folks, right? So this is fun. Anyways, Tim, Indom Gen 2.
Yeah, you pretty much hit it right on the nail. There wasn't. I think it has more damage as well, right? Or they
Um,
just.
I think didn't Indom Gen 1 get buffed on damage? Oh, I'll have to check it real fast. Indom Gen 1. It starts with an I, obviously.
Mhm.
Um, no, same base damage.
Okay. So I mean, it's literally end down Gen 1, but like you said, it covers the one weakness, the biggest weakness that end down Gen 1 has, and that's being able to break through shields. Um, another thing it has is with Endom Gen 1, you can go cloak and then armor piercing rampage, and that's basically all you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But with Endom Gen 2, you don't have to go with armor piercer. You have mutual fury. You can, so if you know someone's going to be able to do instant invincibility or something like that, you can do mutual fury instead of going straight for the armor piercing rampage, and then you still have that 50% buff coming with an armor piercing rampage. So it has some maneuverability around some of the um, means that Endom Gen 1 couldn't do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just it's just better in every way.
Yeah, like,
So
mm-hmm. Like the biggest difference is it doesn't have the 20% crit, right? And it lost gasp armor piercing impact. It lost armor piercing impact. For Mutual Fury. Come on. This is why is this even a comparison? Come on. No one cares about armor piercing impact. It's oh my goodness. Anyways.
what's its,
Mm-hmm.
what's its speed with Mutual Fury active?
It's what that's
And plus
10%.
10.8, so
Uh-huh. One.
119.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that puts it in a very good speed tier with Mutual Fury.
Mm-hmm.
For as bulky as it is and having the moves it has, it it's a really good dino.
Yeah, and that speeds all the 115s, right? With that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Okay, there we go. Indom Gen 2. Another epic hybrid up here. There's actually a lot of epic hybrids up here with that, man, actually.
Oh,
Yeah. Anyways, moving on. The return of Indoraptor, sorta. So, Indoraptor got a bit of a buff, right? Health, 3.9k, 1,460 damage, 128 speed, 20% crit, and its moveset, Armor Piercing Strike, Cleansing Impact, Fanchine Rampage, Evasive Stance, and got immune to Distraction and immune to Stun. So, want to start this one off, Tim?
sure. It gained the biggest problem it had, which was distraction and stun. It wasn't able to handle either one, and being able to cleansing impact slowing gives it the ability to win out against some of the dinos that couldn't win out, like Rhinex. It beats Rhinex, I think, 100% of the time, where before it lost to Rhinex at 75%.
Mm-hmm.
So it gained a lot of advantages in this meta, and being um it still loses to the twin sauropods, but 3900 HP, not bad. 128 speed, which kind of seems slow for a speedster in this time period, but when you add in the immunities and the fairly good bulk, it's pretty good. 1460 damage isn't anything to sneeze at, and 20% crit. So overall, it's a really balanced dino. It's able to handle just about every situation like it used to be able to do. Um, but yeah,
Mm-hmm. Like, and this is another point back to Dialer Cars, right? It basically gave like the anti-Dialer Cars kit with both immune to distraction and stuns, which is literally like, I wouldn't say is all what Dialer Cars does because so it's Spirit Strike, right? But it was mainly Dialer Cars' way to have like a stranglehold against Indoraptor in this matchup. So like now, I'm not saying Dialer Cars still doesn't beat it. I mean, if you got to set up Dialer Cars, which most Dialer Cars are set up, right? Indoraptor will still need evasive stance and stuff. But on the other hand, if you got to set up Indoraptor, your opponent can't just like throw a Dialer Cars into that anymore, well, willy nilly, because it used to be the case where against a setup Indoraptor, you could throw a Dialer Cars in there and still have a really good percentage of winning that matchup. Not so much anymore, especially with the again immune distraction, immune to stuns. Huge W for Indoraptor here, and again, I don't even want to address this. It's like so absurdly silly. Like people were comparing. Some people were saying, "Oh, there are some places where Indoraptor are actually better than Indoraptor Gen 2, so they're actually really comparable." Ah, no, no, they're not even close. Indoraptor Gen 2 is like a top 3 dino in the game. Like it's even better than a lot of most S tier dinos. So again, Indoraptor huge dub on the buffs, but let's not go that crazy. Okay. And there we go, Indoraptor. Moving on to another interesting character here, Monostegotops. So Monostegotops, without a doubt, got a nerf, right? It used to be like an absolute matchup nightmare, and now it really isn't. It's kind of like the opposite of that. Like, it really doesn't have much to do with matchups anymore. Because of, obviously the huge stat nerfs. But it became kind of a, interesting different role with the new swap and stunning strike, as well as dig in. Most of those, as well as distraction. So it became a much more different dino than just a straight up head to head matchup, absolute beast of a dino, right? So, going over its stats and stuff: 4.2k health, 1,000 damage, 20% crit, 170 speed, 30% armor. Again, huge stat nerfs across the board. Distraction, dig in, greater stunning impact, slowing impact, swap, and stunning strike. Okay, Tim, Monostegotops.
It's not that the Monostegotops got worse with its move pool. Honestly, I believe it
Mm-hmm.
got better
Yeah, the move
with
pool
this
definitely
move
got
pool.
better. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just that huge, what is it, like, I don't know, it was like what, 500 some damage per turn it lost. Um, it does have a nice tech in this meta, being able to swap and stun into like a Thor 10-Rex, that might be around like 2000 HP or something like that. So you can swap in stunning strike him and set up your Monostego to have your greater stunning impact ready.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it definitely just became more of a tech style dinosaur, being as it can't really, it's not gonna, when you head to heads, it's gonna come in to a low HP dino or something that doesn't have a high damage output and just completely stall it out. Um, it does have the ability to be faster than um, what, 128 speed dinos, maybe 129. Can't do math right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it has the means of doing a lot for your team. It just doesn't have the damage of just pushing your team over the top.
Right. And again, for some reason like our tier list kind of gets this criticism a lot, which makes like no sense to me. Like, people either say, oh, like folks say, oh, you focus on head to heads too much, and then there's also folks who say, oh, you're ignoring head to heads or whatever. Like, no, we go with a very balanced approach. Like, these all are taken into account. Like, head to head is, your matchups are important, but what you could do outside of that is also important. So, I honestly don't know where those criticisms come from. Makes no sense. But again, Monocegotops, it used to be the head-to-head game, and now not anymore. It kind of sucks at that. But it has a lot of really interesting tech uses, which is actually, I actually like this change. I like this change. It's pretty fun to play around with, even though, you know, I don't have Monocegotops myself, but just theoretically playing with the numbers and stuff, it's a really interesting dino. There's a lot of combos you can pull with it. You could just alternate, like, swapping this with like Triceratops for like once or twice. That's pretty fun. Slash, not really fun for your opponent. So yeah, this change again was not as bad as it initially was laid out to be. So anyway, and finally it got this, like, after a full year, it finally got the distraction that everyone was asking for. Right. Anyways, moving on. Perutorus. This thing is a monster. So 3.5 or 3.9k health, 1000 damage, 110 speed, 5% crit, no armor. Moveset, Cleansing Strike, Precise Rampage, Long Protection, Instant Distraction, Greater Rending Counter. So, man, Perutorus, it's pretty amazing that, like, after how many patches has it been out? Like, it's still like a top tier dino. It's just, it does an absolutely stupid amount of damage. Like, holy crap. 1,000 base, which again isn't the best, but you do have that greater rend encounter. That's 33% of your opponent's HP. This is basically like you get lethal. You get a free lethal wound. It's basically a free lethal wound while you could still use some other random move that you want to use. Obviously, it's not the same as lethal wound, but it is kind of sort of comparable to the amount of damage that lethal wound could potentially output. And like turn one, you still got a 2 times multiplier in the rampage. That's 2,000 more damage, and with its shortcomings, I mean the health isn't that terrible, but obviously it's sub 4K. You still got long protection to deal with that. If you get bled, if you get distracted, if you get whatever, slowed, cleansing strike, you still got that. And obviously you got the cheese move with instant distraction, which you could use every other turn. So that's like 33% free damage if your opponent isn't immune or cleanses or whatever, security strikes that away. Overall, just a lot of damage, and like speed's not bad, right? It's faster than 109s, and that's all you need with this thing. So Tim, per Taurus.
Yeah, you pretty much hit it right again. The biggest thing is it's able to hit the tanky dinos really hard, which is important in this meta concern. They are slowly taking over. So having a dino that can put up a long protection and combine that with a 33% rending counter, um it can find its way on a team. It's just a worse Tarkus not having armor, a little bit less damage, which doesn't really matter
Mm-hmm.
because it's not going on a assault. It has a nice kit, not being able to be bled, which means it can uh deal with like a dino like Erlica Spikes or Spinata, um, unlike Tarkus, but um, it's it has a really nice kit with fairly decent stats. Like 3,900 HP doesn't seem like a lot sometimes, but when you combine that with long protection and instant distraction, it it could take a few hits if it's not going up against a chopper.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But um, other than that, it's just a really solid dime.
Yep. So yeah, that's Predators. Again, Tark is still better with the armor and all that stuff. But it does have over Tarkus the ability to cleanse bleed. So there's that. I'm actually pretty grateful that Ludia did this. Not to make one just like again, I still think it's better, but it's not like a better in every single way. They still have some different uses in certain matchups, which is pretty fun. Moving on to Quetzorion, Zerion, Varion, I don't even know, the onion dude. I don't even know why I just said onion dude. Anyways, this poor thing. So it was S tier last patch. Have to say that. 3.9k health, 1,650 damage, 130 speed, 20% crit, 0% armor. Armor piercing strike along invincibility, nullifying rampage, sidestep, and swap and dodge. So do you want to talk about this first then, Quetz?
Yeah, it's suffered the same fate as Dalarak. The meta's bulky. It doesn't really have a way to getting through it. And then dinos that it can get through it, they can just chop right through his long invincibility and whatnot. Um, the fact it doesn't have immunity to anything means that it can be slowed, it can be stunned. Side sidestep is really nice to get out of those situations and gaining priority back.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's by no means a bad dino. 1650 damage on a 130 speed dino is pretty incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
With a
it's able
rampage.
to, yeah, it's able to revenge kill a little bit easier than Dilarak. Um, but it doesn't. Where it kind of suffers is it only has two offensive moves, which
Yeah.
I think hurts it a lot. Um, it's able to nullify and rampage, which is great and all, but everything that affects isn't really top tier. And then the one dino um it does affect that is top tier, it still loses to, which is Indoraptor Gen 2. The swap and dodge is nice because it gives it a nice support for your team.
Hmm.
Being able to swap into a rampage or something like that allows it to eat it and then revenge kill, so to speak, which
Hmm.
is nice. But other than that, it basically just suffered the same fate as Dalaran.
Yeah, it does rely less on revenge killing since, instead of have to go in for that revenge, you could just throw it out there and then go over long invincibility turn one if the opponent doesn't have null or defense shouting. But then again, when you are putting that out, you're giving your opponent another turn of cooldown, right? Or slash delay, whatever stage they're on with their dino. So again, I mean, overall, good damage. Still got the 20% crit, which is nice on top of all that damage. Again, 130 speed on that. It's not a bad dino per se. It's just that like the meta just craps on it so hard. It's kind of sad. And again with the dodge nerf stuff, I mean, it doesn't rely on dodge that much, except for maybe like the swap move, like sidestep. Most of the time, it's not for like the dodge parts, more so the cleanse and then the speed boost, right? But uh, overall, decent dino. I mean, it's really good at beating out a lot of the other speedsters, with obviously the exceptions that Tim mentioned there. But other than that, doesn't have too much going for it. Not the biggest L in the world, but an L nonetheless. Moving on. Tenontorax. Tenontorax. Poor thing, poor thing. So, Tenontorax, nothing really got changed. I got like a slight damage buff, right? So 4.5k HP, 1600 HP damage, 109 speed, 20% crit, with Superiority Strike, Defense Shattering Impact, Defense Shattering Rampage, and Distracting Impact. I mean, by now everyone know what the heck is up with, Tenontorax, right? It does what it does extremely well, and its kit is very versatile, right? Unlike some other chompers that only have like one linear kind of path for dealing with situations. It got a kit that you could use different tools in different situations, which is why it makes it so good. But I mean, the reason I guess it's not an S tier, and here's the thing, like I think Tenontorex is one of the other ones that were being argued to be an S tier. I think Prof argued for it to be an S tier. Like I personally wouldn't mind if it was an S tier, but I mean I do have like slight problems with it. The first one being it's a prime target to get set up on, which kind of sucks. And then again, as much as the upsides of distracting impact and spirited strike are, the other thing is, and how much it theoretically would have worked in this meta, but on the flip side, all the new immunes kind of hurt it a bit as well. But again, it doesn't rely on those too much. Like if you face something immune, you can superiority strike, can distracting impact. Not the biggest deal in the world, since you could just obliterate them with your huge damage on the DSRs. But again, it does hurt it a bit over there as well. So that's why it's kind of down here. So 10 racks, Tim.
Yeah, I also wanted it to be an S tier. The biggest thing it has over Thor is the additional bulk. That bulk, in my opinion, in this meta is crucial. It does have a 40% chance of being Maxima. Maxima only needs one or two crits to win that matchup. Um, it can beat Gemini Titan. It can beat Indoraptor Gen 2. So it can beat a lot of the better dinos in the game, which is my main thing of putting it in S tier.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, it is easy to set up on. It does beat Trico, which is a huge win,
Yep.
and it can come into a Trico and beat it, which is nice.
Yeah.
Um, It beats its. I'm just gonna call it the brother, Thor.
Oh boy.
Um,
Right.
it it has a lot of going for it. The biggest thing is its speed. I mean, the versatility is there. The
Mm-hmm.
versatility is amazing, but the immunity to that versatility is what hurts it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That and its speed. Other than that, it's a solid dino,
Yeah.
and I would if there's one dino you want that's anti-meta kind of,
Mm-hmm.
it would be this one.
Yeah. Again, I personally don't have any problems putting it in S tier as well. So I guess we kind of sort of retro agreed that it's S tier now. So again, even if it is in S tier, it's not the craziest S tier, but it is definitely the craziest A plus tier over here. It's definitely has its place up there. So if you want it to be an S tier as well, go for it. If you personally want to place it in there, um, it's fine. It totally deserves. There's a very very legitimate argument for it to be an S tier. Um, Obviously, there's also really a legitimate argument to put it on the top of A plus tier. But again, it's Tenontorex. It is what it is, right? Moving on to the next dino in line, alphabetically, Thorodolosaur. So this is, oh my goodness, gotta talk about Thor again. It's funny, like there are, and you guys know why why we're laughing at this. Just that like the Thor fans, man, holy crap, they are very very dedicated to believing that Thor is much more stronger than it is. Which again, look, Thor is it's a super strong dino, but it has a lot of shortcomings that people, I guess, who are huge fans of it do choose to ignore. Let's go over the stats first. So 4.2k health, 1,680 damage, 109 speed, 40% crit with that Defense Shining Strike, Defense Shining Impact, Defense Shining Rampage, and Instant Charge. So, Tim, do you want to get the first poke at the Thor hive or whatever we want to call them? Again, no
the,
disrespect if you like Thor. I personally like Thor a lot. It's just Anyways, go ahead, Tim.
its bread and butter is its 40% crit. That's get that out of the way. Without that, it doesn't really do much in terms of damage output. Well, it does a lot in damage output, but in this meta, it doesn't seem like a lot. Um, the best way to use this is towards the end of the game when most of the dinos are dead or almost dead, and it could just chomp through the team.
Mm-hmm.
That it does have a 40% chance of one-shotting Dracosera, which is nice, but Dracosera's kind of being pushed out, so getting that setup and being able to kill Dracosera is becoming less valuable for it.
Mm-hmm.
That lack of the 300 HP less than it has Tonanto actually allows it to lose to both of the sauropods fairly easily,
Mm-hmm.
which is a big hit in my opinion.
Yep.
Um, and another thing it has going for it is it does have priority. So if unlike Tenontorex, it can deal 1680 damage to whatever dino it comes in. So you're not totally getting set up on. You're at least dealing some good damage.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Other than that, it's a solid dino. And this
Mm-hmm.
meta, it's good. It beats Trico. Like I said before. Uh, it, but overall, I just don't think its its value is as good as Tenontorex.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so there's that.
Oh, so we're going with the straight up the Tanatra comparisons. Here's another thing. The Denson Charge, which is a very very important part of its kit, right? It also got lost a lot of value with the immune stuff, right? Um, I mean, and also the other thing with Thorodolsaur, like it's been again, it's same situation as Dialogue Cards. It's been in like constant decline for the last 3 patches. Um, it started with a crit nerf, honestly, right? And then it just kept on getting hit. This time with the stun nerf, right? So it's in a sad place, and also, and I don't know why we decided on this placing at the end. Like, here's the thing. I was a supporter of Thor. At first, I thought Thor was better than Alicino, but Temerity and Prof actually showed me an argument why Alicino might be as good as Thor, and it's kind of sad. Do you want to elaborate on that, Tim? In certain matchups.
Yeah, it the reason why Alicino is as good is because of the meta, what it's at. It's able to survive a few hits from those tanky dinos and able to. It has a good chance of beating them. Like the Gemini Titan Maxima, it can beat them. But unlike its brother Thor, Thor doesn't win those matchups. The only time Thor can beat Maxima is if you go for a rampage and they go for instant invincibility. That's the only time you're gonna be able to beat one of the sauropods. Um, but it overall, Alicino isn't as good as
Mm-hmm.
Thor because of the 40% crit, but that additional bulk that Alicino has makes it able to deal with specific dinos in the upper tier a little bit better than what Thor can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess the only reason why we put Thor above Alice, and look, the difference between Thor and Alicino is quite minuscule. Like there isn't too much of a like there's the gap between these two aren't really that large at all. But I guess it's just the ability of Thor to absolutely obliterate a lot of the lower tier dinos. I think Alicino actually has, and again, I might be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure Alicino might have better matchups than Thor in a lot of the top tier dinos, but has a bit more trouble against some of the lower tier dinos. Well, Thor kind of just obliterates a lot of the lower tier ones. So, anyways, I guess that's it for this one. I guess one of the most controversial, like A plus here is honestly just full of controversy. You got Dialer Cars down here, Quetzerion, Thor, Tenontorex, which again Tenontorex again could be an S, and all that stuff. So this is the fun tier. This is why I was hoping Prof could be on this as well, just because this is obviously the fun episode. But anyways, moving on, Thylacotator. So this is a absolute monster. Thylacotator, 4,500 health, 1,000 base damage, 117 speed, 40% crit, Superiority Strike, Deliberate Prowl, Rending Takedown, Lethal Wound, Swap and Distraction, Immune to Stuns. So look at this freaking kit, man. Holy crap. Like, if you look at the stats, it's not that impressive. But if you look at the moveset, the stats are totally irrelevant, man. Like, the damage on Thylacotator, it could be 0, honestly, and it wouldn't even matter because of its kit. Wouldn't matter too much. Like, it doesn't really rely on its base damage that much. Like, as long as you could get like 0.9% or something on your on most of your hits, you're good. So a Deliberate Prowl obviously gains a 50% chance to dodge, but where it does help over here is the 50% increase on the crit chance with its already high 40% base crit. That's a 90% chance to crit next turn. And if you do get crit on that, you are dealing massive damage with the Rending Takedown next turn. It's almost, you almost just completely kill your opponent on that one. Like, if your opponent is already in some way damaged, already taken some damage, that's like a GG. And you get a dodge on the first turn, right, with the Deliberate Prowl. And if that doesn't work, you still got Lethal Wound. Like, it's just so much damage that works against your opponent. Like, it's not its own damage, it's the damage that it gets that works against the opponent, which is so like absolutely crazy with it. And also got Swap and Distraction, one of the best swap-ins in the game, although I do have to say it did get much weaker this patch, again with all the immune stuff. And then immune to stuns because why not? Just make it better. And again, the HP is great for what it does and all that. Superior Strike, always a great basic move. So yeah, that's Thalcatator, Tim.
The biggest thing that it has going for it is the support it gives the sauropods. What are the sauropods' greatest weakness? It's the chompers. It's the things that can hit heavy and hit through armor.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it has swap and distraction that allows Thalcatator to come into it. Trico's rampage, a Thor or Tenanto's rampage, eat it, and then being able to lethal wound that chomper, rending takedown. It it gets rid of the weaknesses that the sauropods have, which
Mm-hmm.
makes it really relevant. If you know your opponent has a Dracosera, you can swap in distraction since it's faster. Dracosera's not gonna do anything. Um, Also, if you know Drake, they're gonna use a stun or something. Swap in distraction combined with the immunity to stun.
Mm-hmm. That's
Um,
huge.
that is really huge. Like I've used it. They're gonna use a cute stun, so I would swap in. Um, Distracted by Thalcatator, and then you're able to set up that rending takedown for either 60 to 75% um, damage on the next dino, which is absolutely huge. Um, the damage on it isn't needed, but I mean, if you are able to revenge kill with it, that is huge because then you have lethal wound and rending takedown ready for next turn. And there's no dino in the game where either one of them aren't going to be um that combined with the ability to cleanse itself and buff its own stats, it's a solid support dino, and it's just really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the great point with the with how you deal with dino that are gonna stun you. Like a Dialocharus with a greater stunning rampage, one of its the biggest moves in the game, like literally. Um, if you swap in against a swap in stunning or not swap in stunning, greater stunning rampage on Dialocharus, you get the instant track, so you don't take too much damage, and you don't get stunned. And then like they're screwed. It's yeah. Again, I hate that my Dialocharus is in such a position now. Oh my goodness, I gotta stop talking about it. But poor thing. Again, I love my Dialocharus. I really wish they make it better next patch. But yeah, it's just got like so much stuff going for it. Like it's a Swiss Army knife basically. You could you could take technical swap-in opportunities, and you could absolutely obliterate with massive amounts of damage with the rending takedown, 40% crit on that, even deliberate prowl even more. So it's it's absolutely busted. If you've played any of the tournaments that uses like um, epic hybrids and stuff, again, not that that's any good indicator of their standings, but it's an absolute monster in those. Okay, moving on to Uterinics. Ah, oh my goodness, Uterinics. Ugh, poor thing, poor thing. 3,750 health, 1,550 damage, 126 speed, 10% crit, decel strike, rampage and run, distracting impact, instant charge. Ah, man, it's sad, honestly. Like Renix has fallen off so much, man. Like again, it's not bad. Again, no dino that's an A plus is objectively bad, but in the meta, a lot of them do have certain struggles. That's why they're not in S tier, right? Obviously. Renix just like 126 speed. Honestly, 126 speed doesn't cut it anymore. It's not 128 doesn't cut it anymore. 126 doesn't cut it anymore. 129 is even waffling. We've got so many 130 dinos, 131 dinos coming out that came out recently, and so many 129, 128 dinos with speed up. Like 126 is just no, it doesn't help it anymore. The HP doesn't help it with its 126 speed, which again, objectively, 126 speed is very fast, but in the meta, no, it's not cutting it. And you also, again, the meta is trending towards a lot of these slower dinos, which it honestly can't do much against either. Like, okay, it does a lot of damage with the impact, rampage, and run, but it also has like nothing for HP. So, like, again, Renex, not a objectively bad dino. The meta just absolutely just craps on it. It's so hard. It's really, really sad. And I hate saying this about Renex because I love my Renex. But anyways, Tim, Renex.
It just like Thalicator, it's the counter of counters. It's able to counter the it can do a lot of damage to Trico. It beats Thor, it beats Tenrex, which if you're running the sauropods is a nice dino to have. But that being said, it also loses to all those dinos that it's helping. It doesn't do much to Gemini Titan. It doesn't do much to um Maxima. It loses to both Indoraptors. It doesn't feel like it does much anymore besides having a niche role of just supporting some of your stronger dinos. Um, the Denson Charge is nice. You can somewhat set up um set it up to where it has rampage and run, impact, and instant charge ready. It does have some nice combos like rampage and run into Thalicator with that instant distract, or
Mm-hmm.
rampage and run into a Dracosera for some like 500 damage move. So it does have some things going for, but like you, the meta just doesn't like it right now.
Mm-hmm. And also, it's another, again, unfortunate Dracosera magnet, right? It's a prime target to
Hmm.
get Dracocerad, of all things. But yeah, I mean, it just does like what it does well. Like, it still kills, again, like you said, Tanato, Thor, all that stuff. But like the stuff that it had used to have like eh, an okayish chance against, when it does like kind of decent against like stuff like Indoraptor, right? Stuff like Earldom. I wouldn't say it has decent. It does some damage to Earldom for dies. Uh, stuff like Interraptor. It just doesn't do as good as it did before against those dinos, which again kind of sad, but still a decent pickup if you don't got anything else to fill a role like this. So, well, there's that. Anyways, move on to the last one on today's agenda. We got Yudasano. So Yudasano, I mean, it got better. It got better. Like, I personally, people compare Yudasano and Renex a lot. I don't think they're that similar, but if you really want me to compare them, I think Yudasano might be a bit better, just because like the critical impact buff is actually pretty nice for it, right? But again, it's basically, it kind of suffers the same as a lot of the other dinos that we've mentioned already. Meta not too friendly with it. It still does what it does well. Again, and with Unisino, like, it's always its biggest strength, in my opinion. That it's always had is its almost flawless cycling of its moves. Like, the cycling of its moves is pretty. It's pretty cool, right? For the most part, the cycling cooldowns. So, anyways, 3,000 health, 1.6k damage, 127 speed, 15% armor, D-cell strike, tracking impact, crit impact, and charge. Tim, last one, thoughts.
Yeah. It, in my opinion, in this meta, it's better because it does exactly what Rhinox does, but it's able to hit those sauropods and stuff quite a bit harder. The critical impact, in my opinion, is huge because it's now able to guarantee to kill Dracosera or
Mm-hmm.
anything else with 3,000 HP that it it's not gonna get distracted from. Um, the move set is its biggest ordeal. The fact that it has a move for any situation. If it needs to go first, it has instant charge. If it needs to slow, it has that. And if it needs to take some hits, it has the distracting. If it needs to hit hard, 3,000 damage coming from critical impact. Like it's an all around solid dino. 127 speed allows it to beat Rhynex. Um, 15% armor, which doesn't seem much. It does allow it to survive against those 1,500 plus damage dinos
Mm-hmm.
from their one shots. And then with the accelerating strike, it's able to decel them and then finish them off. So it does have relevancy in its meta. It just the meta doesn't like it because it's bulky and there's a lot of armor involved.
Yeah, that's basically kind of the overall story of A plus here. Like, all standalone in a vacuum, really decent dinos, but the meta kind of hates it. It's like 90% of these guys, right? Okay, so there we go. There's A plus here again. A lot of good stuff in here. Fun dinos for the most part. Again, like when team building, like don't like team build according to tier lists like that. That's that's not. I mean, again, a lot of the higher tier dinos are probably better in vacuums, but you gotta throw in some different dinos that fill different roles that some in much higher tiers don't actually fill, and also more very importantly, check your resources, right? What you have available, set realistic goals, right? And the reason, back to Thorodolsaur, the reason why a lot of people like Thorodolsaur and have really strong, high level Thorodolsaur, boosted Thorodolsaurs on their team, remember, that's all from resources, right? We had, for the longest time, the Sinoceratopses from Alliance reward incubators, which is why I personally think why a lot of people's opinions are skewed on Thorodolsaur, just because they just gave us so much free Sino DNA on that one. So yeah, manage your resources. Again, tier list, not uh, it's just a tier list. It's not based on it's not based on boost or whatever. Everything's level 26. Nothing crazy like that, right? So yeah, anyways, that's me for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, thanks for Tim for stopping by, talking with us. Apparently, from the last video's comments, a lot of you enjoy this format, so we'll keep it up, I guess. Hopefully, if when we do have time. And yeah, again, thank y'all for watching. That's be it for this one. Sorry, new channel. Leave a thumbs up if you liked it, and hopefully we could get these out a bit more consistently now. So, anyways, again, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.